Welcome to the U of Borg. Resistance is Never Futile podcast, I guess, or Borgcast for Monday, September 29th. I'm going to make this short because I basically crumpled up the 5 hours I spent putting together a script for today, talking about issues like submarine purchasing, what's going on in the Baltic, and like a complete rundown, a briefing on European issues. Because the world is lurched into another direction as we have been here on this, and I'm recording this the day before this goes out, Sunday. To wit, we've got 3 shootings in the United States at least, mass shootings in Michigan, in South Carolina, and in Texas. Chucky Hetzketh is bringing together, or Pickled Pete, I guess, would be the better euphemism for him. Hetzketh is bringing together every general in the entire and flag officer in the entire American military to one place at one time off all their stations, absolutely disrupting about 3 or 4 weeks of the planning and the work and the scheduling and the briefings and the operations that they are in charge of around the entire planet in order to do what? As a military historian, I can only see this as being sort of like a Night of the Generals sort of notion. Pete wants to bring everybody together so he can do eyeball to eyeball with them because he's an idiot. And he thinks that this is how he shows that he's the macho man that he is. But Pete is to high command what, I don't know, a can of corned beef is to a rib roast steak or something. He is so far out of his wheelhouse. He has absolutely no idea what he's doing, and he's making it up as he goes along. But as long as he does whatever Donald Trump says, he's very happy with that. Donald Trump's very happy with that. In addition to that, and the reason I basically hit delete on my script for today was the statement by the White House that the United States is now that they came out of the president's office executive order, Antifa, which is not a thing, like it's not a thing. Antifa means anti-fascist. That's what it means. It means that we don't like fascists. My grandfather was Antifa then. My father's Antifa because he fought too. My great uncle was Antifa because he sank submarines in the Second World War. My brother was Antifa because he flew in the Canadian Air Force. I was Antifa because I served in the Canadian Navy. These are ridiculous terms. And what we're saying now is that basically what the government is now saying in the United States functionally is that if you oppose the American government, if you oppose Trump, if you oppose MAGA, if you oppose what the government is trying to accomplish with the suppression of rights, freedoms, and the massive changes to American society that everybody is reeling from right now over the last 9 months, you are now a terrorist. If you oppose Trump, you are a terrorist. Now, this is also with the background that Trump has also authorized the military to deploy to Portland, Oregon, which, having been there, the last time I was attacked in Portland, Oregon, it was during the Rose Festival, and Port de la Reine had pulled alongside, and I was escorted off the ship in my high collar whites by a couple of ladies, and I didn't see the ship for a couple of days. It wasn't a bad evening. I would not actually call that like an assault or a war zone. So Portland is very quiet. Portland is not having anything here going on. So the American military and the American government is now focusing on that and ginning up this weaponization of the state. Now, we all know quite confidently that most people in America are not getting the information they need to understand that this is not actually happening. They will go along with whatever the government tells them to. This is an incredibly dangerous place. All flippancy and all sarcasm aside, I am never in my entire either military career or as a teaching career, my 55 years of life, have I ever thought that we might be this close to a major issue like, one, war against Canada, because now we have to see the United States as, and if you want to call me crazy, please feel free to explain how you think I'm crazy by saying this in the comments below. I would be more than happy, and I promise I will do my best to respond to you. We are now in a completely different zone than we were even last year at this time. The speed and the pacing and the tempo that the Trump administration through Project 2025 has been able to subvert and destroy the administrative state in the United States has ensured that they have the ability to now move forward and continue this process. What does this mean for Canada? Because ultimately it comes back to Canada. All right, first off, we need to not lose our heads. We're not under attack yet. We're probably not going to be that for a while. I fully expect the United States is going to collapse into civil war before they actually come after us. But be aware, brace yourself, and do your general, like civilian, bad weather disaster planning. Make sure you got the stuff you got together, and do a bit of planning. Do whatever you need to do in order to reduce the anxiety about this stuff. What happens will happen. We are not in charge of what happens at the top end of the food chain. What we can do is work around our community. Talk to your neighbors, as I've said. Talk to each other. Think through strategies about how you deal with situations that might be dicey. We're not talking about violence. We're not talking about people dying yet. But given what's going on in the Baltic, which is another thing, and I'm going to have to do a deep dive on this later this week if I get a chance, because being in my job, I actually don't have a lot of time for this sort of stuff, and I just wasted 5 hours that I had to throw away on the script for this one. So, anyways, extemporaneous. I apologize. Do your best to get in community, talk to each other, figure out strategies, figure out workarounds, figure out what the issues are in your community, help each other, help people on the street. We've got a big, huge homeless problem in Canada. We need to solve that. Carney's got a decent plan. Is it perfect? No. Is Carney perfect? No. Is he doing enough for First Nations and Indigenous issues? No. Will he? Well, all governments will work under pressure. That's their job. If we apply the pressure to them in a democratic system, which we still have in Canada, things get done. Don't listen to the Polyev Canada's broken BS that you're going to be hearing on a regular basis. That is done because emotion short circuits your ability to critically think about the issues that are happening around you. When people go directly for your emotion, that is your first indication that they are trying to convince you to do something against your will. When people go for emotion first, and I mean, if anybody out there does sales, you understand what I'm talking about here. This is human psychology. You get people nervous, and the lens closes right in. I mean, if you want to see that in real time, I'm not going to share it here, but online there's a picture of an ICE agent, I think, who, like a numpty who was trying to take down some poor guy on the street, and he did not know what he was doing. He's probably about my age. He looked like he's about 55 years old. And he lost his handgun, and he freaked out. He panicked, and he grabbed for his handgun, and he discharged his magazine. And I'm quite confident that numpty always had one round in the chamber, which is something you never do with a handgun, because you never trust the safety mechanism to keep it safe. I mean, this is law enforcement. We're not talking combat carry here. Anyway, so numpty is doing his thing. That level of panic is what they want to induce in the population. They want you so flustered, so freaked out, so narrow focused on, oh my God, what is happening right beneath my feet, that you're not looking at what they're actually doing, what they're actually saying, and not understanding how much power you have to resist this. We cannot allow what is happening in the United States to happen in Canada. Ever. Ever. I will defend this. I mean, oh God. Now I sound like a military guy, but I mean, I took an oath to serve Canada back in 1990. It did not come with an expiry date, nor did my dad's. He's 92. When Trump got elected, what was he doing? He was out in the garage cleaning his 303. We understand what the threat is. People have seen this before. But, courage, mon cher. We can get through this. If we work together, and if we don't lose our heads, even if America does something incredibly dangerous to Canada, if we don't lose our heads and we keep it together for a while, we will get through it. We will figure out the strategies. We'll figure out the workarounds. We dealt with COVID. We've dealt with the Second World War. We dealt with the Cold War. We dealt with the First World War. We dealt with all the problems that this country has ever faced in our history. And what are we right now? We are Canada. We are a nation that is a beacon to the entire planet right now. People are looking at us from around the world, looking at how we are resisting this. In that respect, we're functionally not Austria in 1938, because we are functionally the leadership of the free world, if you want. I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just mean that in a moral way. What Canada is doing right now, the way that we are approaching this, the way that we are dealing with the United States in a fair and measured manner, is giving the world a fair amount of stability that we need to ride out this massive change in geopolitical relations that's happening globally. It's going to suck, and I fully expect, based on the stuff that's coming out of the White House, things are going to likely get a lot worse, especially in the United States. For Canada, I think we should be starting to look at the way that we deal with our border security and ensuring that Americans who are fleeing fascism are given refugee status, because I honestly see that the United States is no longer what it was last year. This is now functionally a completely different environment, completely different country. As a nation, we need to adapt to that. Will we win? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's absolutely no way in heck. And I can go back to JMS Careless and the Metropolis Hinterland thesis, or looking at back into the 1930s. Canada is, what was it? It was Morton. Canada is at once invulnerable and indefensible. Yeah, you can invade us. That's great. But where are you going to go? You get in the muskeg, you're dead. If the Russians ever tried to attack us over the North Pole, best thing that we would be doing would be setting a rescue parties to help them recover the survivors after the nature has emptied their ranks, and providing them some sort of civil support and maybe some lodging and housing and everything, getting back their countries. The United States can attack Canada. Will they? I'm not going to be an alarmist. It seems inconceivable. I will say that it is in the cards at this time in human history. Will it be successful? No, because the last 3 times they've tried to do it, it's never been successful for the same reasons. The people don't want them here. They don't understand us. They don't understand the land. And we've got General Winter on our side. So don't panic. Like, go back to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic. We're going to weather the storm. I see for us, our problem and the thing that we need to look at going forward is, how do we treat ourselves? How do we look after the people in Canada? How do we look after the people who are least in Canada? We've got tremendous homeless problems. We've got tremendous problems with poverty. If we look after ourselves and work together, people might say, well, where's the money going to come from? Any country, if you understand national finance, that is control of its own banking policy, is able to do whatever it needs to do when it needs to do it. I will cite the Canadian experience in the Second World War. We went into that war as a Depression-era economy. Everybody's broke. Everybody's out of work. Nobody knew what to do. We came out of the war as one of the strongest nations in the world. We had the 3rd largest Navy. We had the 2nd largest 3rd largest Air Force, 4th largest Navy, and one of the largest armies, land armies in the world. And we then went on to 56 to from the 1950s through 60s to the largest period of economic growth in our history. We built most of our community colleges. We built our communities. We built everything that we now are proudly, like healthcare and our ability to support ourselves. We got this if we don't lose our heads in the next few months. Keep it together. Stay safe. Reach out to each other. Talk to each other. Figure out where everybody stands with respect to this and what you can do to help each other. I am very confident that regardless of the insanity that happens to the south of our border, if we stick together, we will weather this storm and we'll come out the other side and we'll be okay. Anyways, I got a plan for next week, so I will talk to you probably next Monday. So, Borg out. Have a great week. Let's hope things don't get too crazy.